And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have our Canadian Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the South Korean Protoss. Representing himself, currently teamless, it is Classic. Here we go. We are going to be settling into our PvP, and we'll see how this does unfold. For now, Trigger immediately scouting. Immediately does check the nearby third locations, and Trigger is going to be opening up with a gate expand. Likewise, Classic doing the same. Now again, welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Because Ultra Love has a unique feature, has a ramp coming into the natural, it is legal to go for a gate cybercore expand. Economic opener is very much so the standard in PvP on this map. So both players, they do acknowledge that they are going for the economic start. What I will say is that because of the standard or the economic openers that we see here, and because of the probes, both players should be pylon blocking. Classic should be pylon blocking Trigger. Trigger should be pylon blocking Classic. Because of this, we have 2 gases being taken. Because of the extra gases, this means tech before expand. This means Stargate before expansion. And that means Phoenix Wars. That is usually where this goes. We'll see if either player deviates. There are times where sometimes a player tries to fake out the opponent and try to sneak out an expansion and avoid that and try to avoid Phoenix Wars, but we'll see. We'll see if either player is able to pull that off. It's hard to avoid Phoenix Wars. As we have the first Zealot on the way. Now, the reason why you need the Zealot is to focus on the pylon, because again, we expect a pylon block, and the Zealot will help alleviate. So we're waiting for the Cybercores. When the Cybercore is done, then we can throw down the Stargates. When the Stargates get thrown down, if both players do so, speaking of, yep, Stargate for Trigger, Stargate for Classic, because both players scout each other, because they know that it's a Stargate, this is where you need to make Phoenixes, because you can't make anything else. If you make an Oracle, and if the opponent makes a Phoenix, then you'll just lose the Oracle. You lose the Oracle, lose the game. So this is how Phoenix Wars are born, with maps with ramps on them. So again, economic opener, pylon block, into Stargate, into delayed expansion, into Phoenixes. So strap yourselves in. Phoenix Wars have begun. Now, it is possible, not impossible, it is possible to try to break out of Phoenix Wars. Instead of going for a second Stargate and Mass Phoenix, you can go for a Twilight Council into Blink. Ooh, speaking of, Trigger, he does begin his Phoenix. Classic. Bold move. Very bold move. Classic opens up Oracle. This is illegal. And we'll see if Trigger should be able to punish this. Now, first things first, he doesn't scout. Trigger, he does not know what's going on. He doesn't know what's coming his way. Trigger, I'm sure, is assuming it's going to be Phoenixes. And right now, the game is Classic has to avoid the scout, has to avoid the Phoenix, get across the map, and get economic damage. There's that Twilight Council. He's trying to go into Blink Stalkers. He's trying to transition to Blink Stalkers. The dev gets into the main, gets 1 probe kill so far. Gets 1 probe. Oracle's making its way across the map. Classic towards the main. And now up to 2, soon to be 3 Phoenixes. Trigger, he's mainly in position here. Classic's going for the dive, and Trigger, he responds. We'll pull away. 1 probe goes down. 2. He's gonna get, oh god, just 2, 3! 3 probe kills for 1 Oracle. That's not quite worth it. Oracle goes down. Massive Phoenix advantage here. Trigger, he does cancel the Stargate. The reason for this, he knows that Classic isn't making extra Phoenixes, so he has to stop the Phoenix production. It will get across the map, and we'll see what he can get done. Oh, as the Phoenixes, they race back home. There's potential for them to get economic damage. There's only 1 Stalker that he could totally be here. But Trigger, he's afraid of a second Oracle. Yeah, bit of a fake out. So Trigger, the reason why he's not harassing with the Phoenixes is because he believes that a second Oracle has already been built, and he's waiting for the second Oracle. We know that it was a delayed second Oracle. The second Oracle is just now beginning. It wasn't already in production, and it wasn't already on the map. So this is a bit of a misread from Trigger. He could have, and he should have done more damage here, but again, he was playing it safe. He was playing it safe. Now he realizes what's happened. Now he knows that, yep, Oracle's cancelled. it doesn't even make the Oracle, but because he started, like, mind games. Basically, Classic, he starts the Oracle, and he's forcing Trigger to stay back at home, because Trigger believes there's an Oracle on the way. We know there isn't. Trigger does not. So really good mind games here at a Classic. It's allowing Classic to get into his own economy, and to make sure he doesn't get disrupted or doesn't get harassed. Here we go. As Phoenix, they dip in. They pull away. Phoenix, they do pull away. So far, again, the Mass Stalker has been revealed. Classic keeping up. Oh! Oh, catching out of Phoenix, almost. Almost. I do see in the chat someone asking, Beyond vs. Kira, is it over? What's the result? Yes, yes. We Beyond vs. Classic was our first series. We did wrap it up. Did finish it. It was a fast series. I'll say that at least. I do recommend it. It was a fun series, but very fast. Very quick best of 3. You can infer that how you will. As Classic does move out across the map, he has a massive amount of Stalkers. Likewise, these Phoenixes, they haven't really been too impactful here. Again, they kind of missed their timing, they missed their usefulness. He dives on top of the army, going for the Immortal. Stalker goes down first, followed by the Immortal. Trigger, he's racing back home. And Trigger is being caught out. Did attempt to expand. No Phoenixes whatsoever. The natural is compromised, knocking down the pylon. And he can go for that final Immortal. And he will. The Classic, he blinks in, he dives in. Takes down the Immortal. The Stalkers, the Phoenixes are now racing back home. They were out of position. We needed them earlier. And again, the mind games, the outpositioning here was real. So real for Classic. Again, with the fake outs with the Oracle. Likewise, just pushing in at just the right moment. Depowers the gateways, denies the upgrades as well. And Classic is snowballing out of control. And again, the Phoenixes, they did nothing this game. They achieved nothing. He got an Oracle. He got one. That's all he was able to do. No economic damage whatsoever. And with that, Classic is going to be cleaned up at least somewhat. At least we're trying to. Classic still maintaining a worker lead. He's on 3 bases, rallying across the map. And here we go. You try to recall back home. Yo, shout to Eva. Eva. Papi, don't forget to schedule your match against Fort Jimmy. Don't forget. Yes, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? What have I done? What do you mean? Eva. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Don't forget your match. Don't forget. But yes, we're going over OlimoLeague. As Classic once again, he dives in, takes out the Immortal. GG gets called, he does a woman. Classic will take a 1-0 lead. Whew. GG. GG, well played. But again, hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Roddy Raid redirected. I hope you enjoyed the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts. Hope you enjoyed the show matches. Big shout out to Rotterdam, of course. Shout out to Rotterdam, and I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Welcome. For those that are curious, welcome to the Cranky Ducklings. We do cast StarCraft on a daily basis here. This is our 3rd cast of the day, by the way. We just wrapped up an MC show match with Minchul. We just wrapped up the Firegrow Cup as well, and now we are live with our 3rd broadcast of the day with the OlimoLeague, and we are here in the round of 32. We're here in the round of 32. Usually we cast OlimoLeague live. I may as well just go into a bit of a PSA here. Usually we cast OlimoLeague live, but as of and we did cast it live for the past month, but unfortunately, when it comes to casting it live, we can only cast it live on Chijijik. You can see their logo just underneath the OlimoLeague logo. And Chijijik is a Korean streaming platform. It's not Twitch, it's like the Korean version of Twitch. So we can only stream it there. And we have been for the past month or so, and sure, like with like the official English casters, we stream it live. But as you can imagine, not a lot of people are aware of it. You know, people mainly use, Twitch or YouTube. And on top of that, the Chijijik platform is only in Korean. It's only in Korean. It's not very friendly to foreigners. So we weren't really getting much viewership there. So it's like, you know what? may as well forego live casting. We'll just cast it via replays instead here on Twitch a couple of hours after the fact. So we have foregone casting it live for a replay cast instead. Again, these events occurred a couple of hours ago. Bear that in mind. So this is these events did occur a couple of hours ago. We were actually casting at the time. We were casting another tournament. So we've been casting all night, Pappy. Casting all night. So we were casting another event at the time, but now we can catch up on the replays. And we are here in the round of 32. We're in the round of 32. We just wrapped up with Beyond versus Cure, and now we're getting into Classic versus Trigger. Into game number 2. Let's go. What does Korea have against Twitch? Nothing. It's what Twitch has against Korea. Basically, Twitch is no longer a thing in Korea. No longer a thing. So as a result, basically competitive or competitor platforms have risen up to take the place of Twitch. And yeah, there are 2 of them. Well, I guess there are 3 of them. There's like Kakao Live, there's Soup, and there is Chijik as well. Here we go. But yes, as Kuro stating in the chat, Twitch does not exist in Korea. Not anymore. Not anymore. Oh, Este Eon Blue, let's go. Pappy, when are you playing in OlimoLeague? When are you playing? I want my Eon Blue builds. As we're getting into game 2 and spawning in the top right hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Basilisk. Down in the series, receiving bounce back and forth the ace match, it is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. Leading the series 1-0, it is Classic. Here we go. Oh, hello, Pi, hello, good to see you, good to see you. Always good to see you. But yeah, we're settling in. If you missed out on game 1, both players did open up economically. It was on Ultra Love. Trigger did open up Phoenixes. Alas, the Phoenix opener wasn't quite able to pay for itself, was faked out. He believed additional Oracles were coming, so he was keeping the Phoenixes back at home. Meanwhile, there wasn't. Instead, Classic was gearing up for a massive push with Blink Stalkers, and Trigger, he was unaware, so he was caught with his pants down. Did go the way of Classic, but now we're here in game 2. This time we're on a much more standard map. There's no crazy low ground setup. We have 2 gate openers all around. Here we go, 2 gate opener out of Trigger. Meanwhile, do you see what I see? Only a single gateway for Classic. So Classic is going for a gate into Cybercore, into expansion. Might even try to cut some more corners as well. So Classic is being more economic. This is very similar to the Max Packs opener, for example. And this opener has been very trendy recently amongst the Korean Protosses, amongst the Korean scene over the past couple of weeks, maybe month of play. We've seen Hero, Classic, Trap, all of them, they've all been embracing this opener here. It's been great to see the meta evolve amongst the Korean players, and really Trigger has the option to go for an all-in. He has the option here to go for an all-in to try to punish the greed of his opponent, and then we'll see if Classic can survive that. As the gateways are finishing up, we can see Trigger trying to pylon block. There we go, we'll delay the expansion. And Classic is forced to make that first Zealot. First Zealot has arrived. Classic getting into his own Stargate opener. So again, very Max Packs-esque. Going for the Stargate into his expansion. And if Classic does believe or does sniff out something like an all-in coming, he can always make a defensive Void Ray. Can always get there, if need be. For now, it's going to be expanding. And Trigger back at home, it looks like he is not setting up his own proxy location. The probes are racing back home, and Trigger's just going for his own expansion. Likewise, Stargate opener as well. Okay. Now, checking the vision, Trigger, he hasn't actually seen the Stargate of his opponent, but based on the build of choice, he can deduce that Classic did open Stargate regardless, which means Trigger may just open up Phoenix. Oracle is on the way for Classic, and Trigger might be able to shut it down without it dealing really any damage whatsoever. So Trigger, he has potential. You know what, back at home, going to be expanding. Natural is on the way. Fanning at his Stalkers. And we'll see if Trigger goes for the initial Phoenix or the Oracle instead. Here we go. As the first Oracle is on the way, Oracle into Void Ray. So again, just really standard and safe play here by Classic. I say standard in the sense that when it comes to this opener, Oracle into Void Ray is the go-to. Oracle zooming across the map. and the Phoenixes are on the way. So far, a really good read here by Trigger. As we mentioned before, Trigger didn't scout the tech, but he could deduce exactly what was going on and the likely build of choice. The likely follow-up. As the Oracle is revealed, dives into the main, Phoenix is ready, and the Oracle is going to be completely shut down. He gets one, he gets 2 probe kills, only 2. Only 2 probes go down. A much better trade here by Trigger. He shuts down Classic, moves out across the map. We'll see what Trigger can get done. Shades into the main, gets a full scout, gets eyes on the second Stargate. He's crazy. Second Stargate's on the way, gets scattered by the hallucination, by the shade, and there we go. We cancel the second Stargate, hard switching into Blink Stalkers. Classic with the mind games. But again, the reason why he cancelled was because he got scouted. Meanwhile, Phoenixes, they poke in. They have yet to confirm. So Classic being a little bit cheeky here. Trigger so far unaware. Is going to be forced back. Is going to be zoned away. And Trigger behind this, he's not going for his own second Stargate. Thankfully, this time he doesn't get baited into mass Phoenixes. He is going into his own Blink Stalkers. So both players taking in the same direction. Trigger has some incomplete information, but he should soon confirm with the scout. And Phoenixes, they dive in. They get a probe. They camp the production. Yeah, better trade here from Trigger. He takes down 1, takes down 2. Takes down 2 Phoenixes, confirms that there is no second Stargate. Gets eyes on the Twilight Council. Should notice that there's no researching either. And checking his vision, yep, he does confirm the Dark Shrine. Oh my god, the scouting! Takes down the final Phoenix. Trigger gets the hell out of here. And now he knows. He knows a couple of different things, actually. One, he's aware of DTs, of course. He's aware of the Dark Templar. He's also aware that there's going to be a window in time where Trigger has Blink and Classic does not. It's a small window, but a window nonetheless. We'll see if we can make use of that. Trigger, he responds with his own Robo. Robo has been placed. And with this, can get into the Observer, get detection. Stalkers move out. Classic set up here with his own proxy. Trigger does scout, does confirm. Is aware. Classic doesn't stop. I love it. He cancels the Dark Shrine because he got scouted, so good move here by Classic. And what does he do? He's knocking down those rocks. He's going for the gold. Like, the twists and turns this game from Classic has been insane. Like, the fake out double Stargate Phoenix into Blink Stalker, into DTs, now into the gold base. Like, it's been crazy. And as much as I love the twists and turns, I mean, Trigger, because he's been able to respond and been able to keep up, he does find himself with the lead. Trigger, he does have the slightly better economy. He has the larger army, of course, as well. And this is so Classic can recover and come back. Just because of all those twists and turns, his tech is behind. So Classic has some catching up to do. And the gold base will help. Golds will help. Army gets spotted. Classic does take down one of the Phoenixes, but I'll ask Trigger, he will overwhelm. Yeah, he has a massive Stalker count. He will shut down the army. We have reinforcements coming in, but Trigger, he can still take this. He can, and he will. Phoenix goes down, but for the cost of every single Stalker. And with that, Trigger, he can just keep pushing. He can keep going. Gold base is on the way. GG gets called, and Trigger ties up the series 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match. Again, just really good scouting, really good responses here out of Trigger, keeping up with every twist and turn that Classic threw at him. And with that, we're going all the way to the ace match. Let's go. Whew, oh my god. So very well played there by Trigger. Classic maybe having a little bit too much fun when it came to his initial build and his tech pods, of course. How he was following things up. And now we find ourselves on one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, a map that we rarely get to see. We're going to be loading into El Dorado. Let's go. Let us go. Now, as a reminder, OlimoLeague has a unique format, has a unique system, no vetoes. Vetoes are not allowed, so because of that, we actually get to experience some of these otherwise typically vetoed maps in the map pool. Instead, losers pick. So this is Classic's map of choice. And it makes sense. It's a very chaotic map. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Classic. And we'll see if he can bring it back and take the series. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, though, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Basilisk, tying up the series. And can he keep up that momentum? Can he claim the series and take down Classic? It is a Trigger. Here we go. Now, very similarly to Ultra Love, what do we have? A ramp. A ramp coming into the natural on both sides, of course, and both players attempted to go into their own economic openers. Gate into Cybercore into expansion. I say that, but like we saw on Ultra Love, we expect to see both players taking their second gases and both players taking into Stargates. Now, we saw that even though we attempted to embrace Phoenix Wars in Game 1, Classic did deviate, he faked Trigger out, and Classic was able to go into just mass Blink Stalker aggression and catch Trigger with his pants down. We'll see if that's the case this time as well. As the probes are sent out, and as we mentioned before, the goal here with these workers is to pylon block and delay the expansion. It's all about scouting, all about delaying the expansion for as long as possible. Second gases are now being taken, cybercores are on the way, and if both players are successful when it comes to pylon blocking, we should be going for Stargates and then into Phoenixes. And then leading into Phoenix Wars. Of course, to caveat that, of course, the last time this happened, Classic did deviate away from that, so we'll see if that happens again. For now, we are settling in. Shout out to Eva? Wait, what? Did we just get raided twice? Eva, did you go live again? What? What's happening? Eva! What's going on? Are you okay? Oh no! As Trigger out of position, the Nexus gets thrown down, and Classic, he will get away with a faster expansion. Trigger across the map, going for the Stargate into a delayed Nexus. Let's go. I was raiding you, then Ronnie raided me, so then I said I'll play 1 or 2 more games. What is Eva, you're an animal. What are you doing? God damn it. S to Eva. Also, if you didn't hear me, Eva, make sure you play your match versus Jimmy. Make sure you play it. S to Eva. But also, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid, Eva. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Gracias, papi, gracias. Papi, ga. And welcome everyone from Eva's stream once again. Welcome. Again, we are live here covering the OlimoLeague broadcast, or OlimoLeague replay cast, I should emphasize. As we are settling in, again, as a reminder, Classic did get the faster expansion, going into his own Stargate Phoenix opener. Meanwhile, Trigger back at home going into Phoenixes as well, with a slightly later expansion. So we're entering the initial phase of Phoenix Wars. As we mentioned before, because both players open Stargate, both players see each other open Stargate, and as a result, both players have to make Phoenixes. Phoenixes, they need to be made. Trigger, he's across the map, trying to break down that wall. Zelt is going to go down. Shield battery gets cancelled. Epsay making their way in. Not just one, but two. Two at Epsay bust their way into the main bases. Two at Epsay can one-shot probes. They can wreak havoc. Busting into the main, getting a handful of probe kills so far. Not bad. Say a handful, 3 probes. 3 workers going down. Denied mining here at the natural. And that is a second Stargate on the way. So Trigger, he is embracing Phoenix Wars, mass Phoenix production, I should emphasize. Classic has yet to do so. Classic, though, he's still up in workers. The reason for this, if you remember, is because Classic's Nexus was faster. So faster Nexus means higher worker count, and Classic still maintains that lead. Now going for his own Stargate. So mass Phoenixes from both players. Classic does have 1 Stalker that can support his army. Bear that in mind. Does have the Stalker. And a Trigger is going to be moving out. Okay, we're good. Just looking for the army. Staying back at home. When it comes to Phoenix Wars, a lot of it does come down to the one big engagement. If a player doesn't stack properly, if they don't engage properly, everything can just go south real fast, real quick. There's a reason why players or people don't really enjoy Phoenix Wars too much, and it's because it's so unforgiving and very cutthroat. If you lose even 1 Phoenix, that could be game. That can just be game then and there. So it's not the most enjoyable to play, especially. We can see Classic pylon blocking all the expansions. Very nicely done. Oh no! Classic is scabbing. He's stacking. He's stacking. So is Trigger. Whew. Could be good. Again, you have to make sure you stack so you line up your shots. Otherwise, you have wasted DPS. Just because if you leave your Phoenixes idle, they do just naturally fan out. If they're too spread out, then when the fight happens, a bunch of your Phoenixes just won't attack. They just won't attack. They won't engage properly. Now, these pylon blocks are brutal because Phoenixes can't shoot buildings. They cannot shoot buildings, which means Trigger cannot expand without a ground unit. So he is forced to invest into a Zealot. Has to make a Zealot. Classic does not. So Classic is being a little bit more efficient as a result. As you can see, Trigger, he wants to expand, but he's going to be delayed. Looking at the units count here, Trigger does have a 1 Phoenix lead. Armies are moving out. I mean, there's still that Stalker, bear that in mind. And Classic, he can snipe the Zealots! Yeah, Trigger's out of position. Zealot goes down, which means Trigger cannot expand. He cannot expand. Oh! He's going to engage, though. Does dive in. 1 Phoenix goes down. 2 Phoenixes. A bit of a messy fight here. Reinforcements have arrived, and Classic, he will take this. Yeah, he will take the better fights. As we mentioned before, Trigger, his Phoenixes, they weren't stacking. The Phoenixes are low, though. Oh, they are low. Nice target firing. Very nicely done. And they trade evenly. 3 and 3. Whew. They trade 3 and 3. Classic backs off, but Classic, he achieved what he wanted. Kept the pylon alive. Did keep the pylon alive. And back at home, Classic is expanding. Phoenixes move out. Reinforcements have arrived. Classic now with a Phoenix lead. Does take a slight Phoenix advantage. Phoenix range on the way with that fleet beacon. Trigger has not invested into his own upgrade yet, though. No fleet beacon for Trigger. That does mean that Classic's gonna shoot first. He'll shoot first. And once he gets the upgrade, I mean. As it's still a very tense moment here. Still could go either way. I love just the wall of Phoenixes, sorry, the wall of pylons you have over there. Classic double expanding even. Gets his 3rd, now getting a 4th. Trigger going to be expanding towards the south instead. I should say forced to expand towards the south. But a much more delayed expansion. Classic getting to upgrades, does engage, takes down another Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix range. He has range over his opponents. Free shots going off. And Trigger is being bullied back. He cannot engage, not like this. Oh, does stack. Does stack up, does turn the tables. Somewhat trades. But this is still a better trade for Classic. And GG gets called, does outtrade him, and Classic will take the series 2-1. Will take down Trigger. GG. GG, well played. That Phoenix range timing was brutal. Unfortunately, Trigger, he did not have his own fleet beacon. He had no range, so we saw just so many free shots going off in favor of Classic there. Again, the advantage of that extra range, of course, and with that, GG. GG, well played. Classic will take it. A shout out to Trigger, though. Again, it was a very intense series, and I was very impressed by Trigger in that first game. Here in Game 3, though, we saw that, again, there was just a little bit too much working against him when it comes to delayed expansions. Because the 3rd base was delayed, that's another reason why the tech was delayed as well, because he was down in economy. He had less money to work with, to invest into a fleet beacon, to invest into upgrades. It all kind of piled on each other there. It all kind of added up, and with that, GG. GG, well played. Classic will take the series 2-1. Congratulations. We'll take the series, and now we have 1 match left in the round of 32. 1 match left to go. And and up next is going to be Skilless versus Zound. Let's go.